The champagne flutes were already sweating in my hands when I noticed the room tilt. At first I thought it was nerves. $80,000 worth of flowers, silk, crystal, and expectations pressed down on my lungs, and 300 faces stared back at me like a jury. The string quartet swelled. My husband, God, it still felt unreal to call him that, squeezed my fingers and whispered, "You okay, Riley?" "I'm fine," I said, smiling so hard my cheeks burned. I took another sip. The bubbles tasted wrong. Bitter. Metallic. Like licking a coin. The tilt became a drop. The chandeliers above us smeared into streaks of gold, and the applause turned into a low underwater roar. My knees buckled. Someone gasped. Someone screamed my name. And through the fog, through the ringing in my ears, I saw my sister standing at the edge of the dance floor. Maya was smiling. Not a wide smile. Not a wedding smile. A thin one. Controlled. Satisfied. I woke up in a side room on a leather couch that smelled like polish and old money. The music was muffled now, like it was happening in another universe. My mother was crying. My husband's face hovered above mine, pale and furious. A paramedic asked me my name, the date, who the president was. "Riley," I croaked. "What happened?" "You collapsed," my mom said. "They think you were drugged." The word landed like a gunshot. Drugged. My stomach twisted, and suddenly the bitterness on my tongue made sense. The dizziness. The way my limbs had turned to sandbags. My gaze slid past them to the doorway. Maya stood there, arms crossed, concern painted perfectly on her face. "Oh my God," she said softly. "Riley." I was so scared. She had always been better at pretending. Growing up, Maya was the golden child. Straight A's, captain of everything, the one teachers praised and relatives compared me to. I was the quieter sister, the one who learned early that survival meant staying observant, not loud. When I got engaged first, something in her cracked. She never said it outright. She didn't have to. It showed in the way she corrected my wedding plans, in the way she laughed too hard when vendors made mistakes, in the way she insisted on being involved in everything. She'd offered to help with the drinks, even. Said she had a great palate and wanted everything perfect. Perfect. The paramedic cleared me to sit up, then stand. "You're lucky," he said. Whatever it was, the dose was low. Low. On purpose. As the room spun less violently, a calm settled over me that scared even me. Maya had tried to humiliate me. Maybe hurt me. Maybe worse. On my wedding day. In front of everyone I loved. And she thought she'd get away with it. The coordinator peeked in. "We're behind schedule," she whispered. "People are asking questions." "Tell them I'm fine," I said, my voice steady. "Tell them we'll do the toasts." My husband looked at me like I'd lost my mind. "Riley, I need this," I said quietly. "Trust me." He did. He always had. We walked back into the ballroom to cautious applause. I felt the floor beneath my feet, solid now. I felt the air on my skin, the weight of every eye. Maya rushed forward, hugged me, whispered, "I'm so glad you're okay." Her perfume was sharp and floral. It made my stomach churn. The best man gave his speech. My maid of honor followed. Laughter returned, tentative but real. Plates clinked. Wine poured. Then the DJ smiled and said, "And now the bride's sister, Maya." She took the microphone like it belonged to her. "I've known Riley my whole life," she began, her voice sweet and practiced. "We've shared everything. Clothes, secrets, dreams." I stood, lifted my glass. She blinked, surprised. The room quieted. "I'd like to add something," I said. A ripple of murmurs spread. Maya's smile froze. "I want to thank my sister," I continued, "for being so involved today. Especially with the drinks." A hush fell so heavy I could hear the hum of the lights. Maya laughed nervously. "Riley, I collapsed earlier," I said, turning slowly so everyone could see me. "The paramedics believe my champagne was tampered with." Gasps. Whispers. My mother's sharp inhale. Maya's face drained of color. "I want everyone to know," I went on, "that before this wedding, I anticipated something like this." Her eyes flicked to me, wide now. "Warning." "So I made a choice," I said. "I swapped glasses." Silence. Absolute. Devastating silence. Maya stared at the flute in her hand. The one she'd been sipping from since the toast began. I didn't drink the one meant for me, I said softly. You did. The room exploded. Someone shouted. A chair scraped back. Maya's hand trembled, so hard the glass rattled against the microphone. That's not... She started, then swayed. She clutched the podium, knocking it sideways. The microphone screeched. Her knees hit the floor. People surged forward. My mother screamed Maya's name. The same paramedic from earlier rushed in, eyes sharp with recognition. She needs medical attention, he said. As they loaded her onto a stretcher, Maya locked eyes with me. There was terror there now. And something else. Understanding. The police came before the cake was cut. Toxicology reports followed. The substance wasn't lethal, but it was illegal, and intent mattered. Especially with witnesses. Especially with 300 of them. Maya didn't look at me when they led her away. The wedding resumed somehow. People danced like they were shaking off a bad dream. My husband held me tight, his voice in my ear. You're safe. It's over. But it wasn't. Weeks later, Maya pleaded guilty. Our parents stopped speaking to me. They said I'd gone too far. That I'd ruined her life. I didn't argue. Because the truth, the part no one knew, was that I never swapped the glasses. I'd watched her pour it. I'd seen the way her hand lingered, the way she glanced around. And when she turned away, I'd quietly taken her flute instead. I knew she'd toast. I knew she'd drink. Justice, I learned that day, doesn't always look like forgiveness. Sometimes it looks like a microphone, a room full of witnesses, and a sister finally exposed by her own hand. The champagne flutes were already sweating in my hands when I noticed the room tilt. At first, I told myself it was just adrenaline. $80,000 worth of crystal, orchids, candlelight, and carefully curated perfection pressed down on my chest. 300 guests rose to their feet as the string quartet swelled, and the sound hit me like a wave. My veil felt too heavy, the lights too bright, my smile too tight. You okay? My husband whispered, fingers threading through mine. I'm fine, I said automatically. I lifted the glass again. The taste stopped me cold. Not sweet. Not crisp. Bitter. Metallic. Like blood and pennies and something chemical that didn't belong in celebration. I swallowed anyway, because that's what brides do. Because everyone was watching. The floor shifted beneath me. The applause stretched into a distorted echo, like I'd been dropped underwater. My heartbeat thundered in my ears. Too fast, too loud. I tried to breathe, but the air felt thick, syrupy. My vision blurred at the edges, the chandeliers above us smearing into molten gold. Then I saw her. Maya stood just beyond the dance floor, hands folded neatly in front of her champagne dress. My sister. My maid of honor. She wasn't rushing toward me like everyone else. She was smiling. Not a wedding smile. Not a worried smile. A small, precise smile. The kind you wear when a plan is going exactly as intended. My knees gave out. Someone screamed my name. Arms grabbed me before I hit the marble floor. The last thing I remember before the dark closed in was Maya lifting her glass, toasting me, before taking a slow, deliberate sip. I woke up to the smell of leather and lemon polish. The music was gone, replaced by a dull ringing in my ears. I was lying on a couch in a side room, my dress spread around me like a fallen flag. My mother hovered at my side, mascara streaking down her cheeks. My husband stood rigid near the door, jaw clenched so tight I thought it might crack. Riley, a voice said. Can you hear me? A paramedic knelt beside me, shining a light into my eyes. What's your name? Riley, I whispered. My tongue felt thick, clumsy. What happened? You collapsed, he said carefully. Your vitals were unstable when we arrived. My mom grabbed my hand. They think someone put something in your drink. The words hit harder than the drug ever had. Someone. I didn't ask who. I didn't have to. My gaze drifted to the doorway. Maya stood there, framed perfectly, one hand pressed to her chest like she was the picture of concern. Oh my God, she said softly. Riley. I was terrified. Her eyes were dry. We'd shared a room our whole childhood. I knew every version of her face. I knew when she was lying. The paramedic helped me sit up. The room wobbled but didn't spin. "You're lucky," he said. Whatever it was, the dosage was low. Low. Controlled. Planned. Memories surfaced uninvited. Maya insisting on overseeing the bar setup. Maya offering to fetch my champagne before the ceremony. Maya brushing off my discomfort when I said the drink tasted strange earlier during photos. "I just want everything to be perfect for you," she'd said. The coordinator poked her head in, panic flickering across her face. "Guests are asking questions. We're running behind." I pushed myself upright. "We're doing the toasts," I said. My husband stared at me. "Riley, you almost passed out." "I need this," I murmured. "Please." He searched my face, then nodded. When we re-entered the ballroom, the applause was hesitant, fragile. People smiled, but their eyes tracked me like I might shatter at any moment. I felt strangely calm, hyper-aware. Every sound was sharp, the clink of silverware, the rustle of fabric, the hum of whispered speculation. Maya rushed to me, wrapped me in a hug. "I'm so glad you're okay," she whispered. Her perfume, jasmine and something sharp, made my stomach twist. The speeches began. Polite laughter. Forced normalcy. I barely heard them. My focus stayed locked on my sister, on the way she checked her phone, on the way she kept glancing at her glass. Then the DJ cleared his throat. "And now, a few words from the bride's sister and maid of honor, Maya." She stood, radiant, confident. The room loved her. They always had. "I've known Riley my whole life," she began, voice warm and melodic. "We've shared everything, clothes, secrets, dreams." I rose slowly from my chair. The scrape of my heels against the floor cut through her words. Heads turned. Maya faltered, just for a fraction of a second. "I'd like to say something too," I said, lifting my glass. A murmur rippled through the room. "I want to thank my sister," I continued. "She worked so hard to make today special. Especially when it came to the drinks." Maya laughed, sharp and brittle. "Riley, maybe." "I collapsed earlier," I said, my voice carrying farther than I expected. "Doctors believe my champagne was tampered with." Gasps. A hand flew to someone's mouth. My mother froze. "I anticipated something might happen," I went on. "So I made a small adjustment." Maya's smile shattered. I swapped glasses. The silence that followed was absolute. Maya stared at the flute in her hand. The one she'd been sipping from. The one she raised slowly, unconsciously, as if time had suddenly caught up with her. "That's not funny," she said. Her voice shook. "I'm not joking," I replied. "The glass you're holding was meant for me." Her pupils dilated. The color drained from her face. Riley, she swayed, fingers slipping on the stem. The glass hit the floor and shattered as she collapsed. Chaos erupted. Chairs scraped. Someone screamed. The same paramedic sprinted back in, recognition flashing across his face. "She's been dosed," he said grimly after checking her vitals. As they lifted her onto the stretcher, Maya's eyes found mine. Fear flooded them. Real fear. The kind she'd never felt before. Weeks later, the truth unraveled completely. Toxicology reports. Security footage. Witness statements. The dosage. The intent. Our parents begged me to stop cooperating. Said I was destroying the family. That Maya made a mistake. I didn't argue. Because there was one last truth no one else knew. I never swapped the glasses. I'd seen her pour it. Watched her hesitate. And when she turned away, I calmly picked up the wrong flute. I knew my sister. I knew she'd toast. And I knew she'd drink. At my wedding, in front of 300 witnesses, Maya finally got what she always wanted. Everyone was watching her. Just not the way she planned. The wedding photos never made it to the album. There's one image I kept, though, burned into my memory. Maya being wheeled out under crystal chandeliers, mascara streaked, lips trembling, her perfect composure finally gone. 300 people watched in silence as the truth caught up to her. She pleaded guilty 2 months later. Tampering with a drink. Intent to harm. Public venue. Witnesses. There was no charming her way out of it this time. No parents, no excuses, no rewrites of history. The golden child cracked, and everyone finally saw what I'd lived with my entire life. My parents still don't speak to me. They say I ruined my sister's future. But when I wake up next to my husband, safe, alive, not humiliated on the most important day of my life, I know the truth. She ruined her own future the moment she thought I was weak enough to swallow poison meant to silence me. Justice didn't come quietly. It came with chandeliers, shattered glass, and a microphone. And it tasted a lot like champagne. If this story shocked you, if it made your heart race or your blood boil, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, because some betrayals deserve to be heard, and some confessions are too powerful to stay silent.